On this video, I'm going to show you how to set up an account code on Lexmark. So I have an operator panel here that you can see on the screen. This is my operator panel, and the goal here is to be able to have account codes on walk-up activity, and you can also enable that for print activity, but I'm going to show you how to do walk-up first. And the user would walk up, they would have a lock on their screen. So once they hit the lock, what the machine's going to do is it's going to ask them to log in, and they're going to get a prompt. From there, they can select the prompt. We're going to enter a code. In this case, I'm using 4444, and then I'm going to be able to do a copy. And then that activity is going to be tracked from that point forward and will be available in several options. So we have a few different applications that can track this activity, and I'll go into that as well. So getting back to the setup of the actual device. So the first thing you want to do when you want to get account codes on a Lexmark is under security, you're going to define an internal account that's going to be used to authenticate the user. Now, permissions are set in two primary categories. First of all, under local accounts, what you want to do is go into manage group permissions and make sure there's an administrative group set up. If you select that group, you're going to get access control options that can be enabled or disabled. Now, any of these access controls, if they are checked and they're part of that group, means that anybody that is a member of that group will have that control. All right. Once you make sure that's in place, you go back and you're going to set up a user. So we have a lot of different local account options here. We also have other AD sync accounts, and there's a lot of other cloud authentication that you can enable here, but we're going to focus on this video primarily on local accounts. So if we look at our local accounts, I've got username, password, username, or a password. All of these are essentially the same. It's just going to ask us for more information when we log in. So when I select add user, I like to use username accounts because they're simple and they just work. So I'm going to do 1212. You can associate an email with that, but this is the code or the name that the user will use whenever they walk up to the operator panel. This can also match whatever their username account is on their laptop. And you can also set this code inside of the driver that's printing to the device. So if they have a Lexmark Universal Print Driver installed, there's a job accounting tab there. They can go in and they can enter that code, and then that'll be statically defined based on their print activity. I'm going to make 1212 a member of the admin group. I'm going to hit save. Okay, so now I have a list of username accounts that are in there. I have 22, and then I also have 12. So 22 is just a standard user, and then 12 is a member of standard user as well as admin. So 22 will only have the access to capabilities that are in the all users group. So the all users group, if we look at the grouping again, that's going to be for general users. So anybody that wants to do general activity on the device, they want to print, they want to copy, scan to email, etc. That's the group that you normally want to define for a standard user when you're wanting to prevent activity on the device for non-authenticated users. Admin's going to have special privileges. So again, if we look at the admin group and I go into administrative menus, I'm probably going to make that administrative group enabled where they can do anything they want. If they want to do security changes, make network changes, if they want to do anything when it comes to modifying the device or using the device, that admin group is going to have full access to the device. If we step back here and go to our all users group, I probably don't want to enable all users to be able to do security changes or network menu changes. So those are going to impact the device's setup, and you definitely don't want a standard user to have that access level. So in this case, we would remove those access controls from an all users group. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my manage permissions. So the last thing you want to do, once you get your administrative group set up and you know what the credentials are, and you have a local user account set up that's associated with local users, to lock the device down, that means to be able to lock this local code down or this local feature down, we would go to public permissions, and we're going to go to function access, and we're going to deselect what we don't want a user to be able to do who has not logged in first. Okay, so on the operator panel, I have the copy icon right there. If I check copy function and hit save under public permissions, and then I go back, I see that now I actually have the copy feature available. So the device is not prompting me to log in whenever I want to do a copy. So if we go back to public permission and we deselect copy function and we hit save, now this is the same place you would modify color as well. So you can have unlimited print or unlimited black and white copy, and you would also have a color option here where if you deselected color, you would not be able to do color. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to deselect copy again. I'm going to hit save, and then let's take a look. So now copy has the lock icon on there. It's locked down. If I click it, it's going to ask me to log in. So that's really it when it comes to locking down the device. First thing you want to do is you want to enforce security on the device. You want to make sure you have the appropriate groups set up, which really you just need 2 or 3 set up for standard users. And then you're going to define users that are going to be part of that group. And then those users will automatically inherit the permissions that are part of the local accounts here. You can take these settings, you can export these settings. If you want to do a custom export for non-default settings that includes security and these settings right here, I can export this out of my device here, and then if I have a similar model that supports the same capabilities, I'm going to be able to import those non-default settings in, and then those user groups will automatically be populated as well as the users that are part of those groups. So the next thing you're going to want to do is track activity. Once you get security enabled on the device and you're prompting users to log in before they use it, you have a few options for solutions that can be used. So the most standard one would be our job accounting capability. If the device has a hard drive on it, you can go under job accounting and enable that. And then any activity that a user prints or copies to the device will be available to you right there from the device. Now this is a very granular log of all the activity, but it's certainly available by the default setup of the device if it has a hard drive. From there, you can we have a few other apps. So we have another application called Device Quotas. If we go into Device Quotas, I'm going to be able to run reports. Now, a key setup feature for Device Quotas is if you've already set up your username accounts and you already have security enabled on the device, all you really need to do is install Device Quotas and it's automatically going to use those accounts. So I can take a device that's set up for security, I can install Device Quotas, and these username accounts are automatically going to populate. And then the app is going to run, and then as it runs, I'm going to be able to run usage reporting off of the Device Quotas app. And then if users are logging in and I'm tracking that data, then it's automatically going to calculate the volumes for copy and print for each user account that's being printed to the device. There's some other settings here inside of Device Quotas, but this is the most basic app. Device Quotas is it's pretty basic. It's per device, and it's going to accumulate a report per device that you can use to run metrics. And then the settings for that would be under the application settings for Device Quotas. And then at the top, you're also going to have a separate menu where if I want to look at the usage data for Device Quotas, I can run that, and then it's going to give me a nice little PDF here that I can run. And it'll show me individual data for this one device. Again, any username account that's set up, it's going to populate the list on the left, and it will aggregate and group the activity for each username account right here on the right. The last option we have is our usage reporting app. So usage reporting is a premium offering for Lexmark, and it's a solution-based app that will track activity across several clients. It's made up of 2 individual solutions. So on the Lexmark device itself, there is a usage reporting app and there's also a client app. So right here, if we look at usage reporting app, this application is going to report information for you, and it's going to store data on a Lexmark that has a hard drive on it. And you can actually have a single usage reporting app installed within your fleet, and then you can have additional Lexmark devices that are running the client side application. Those clients will report their data to the usage reporting app on premise, and it will provide you an aggregated report for not only the device it's running on, but any device that's part of the fleet. So we can have, say, an XM or an XC4 series color that has a hard drive standard on it, and we could have several XM 3250s in the fleet. The 3250s could be set up to report their data back to the master or to the primary reporting device. And then as the activity is tracked and collected for bill back, I can go to my master device and I can run a report under usage reporting. And this is a nice web page portal, so it's going to show me any activity. If I have users that are doing any type of print job to the device, it's going to track that data. So whatever they log in as, it's going to track that, and it's going to aggregate that data across several devices. So this is information from a single device, but I could also have data for several other devices as well. So it's based on a username report, and I also have an option for a device report. And that's really it. So again, several options for tracking. All the options for apps are included with Lexmark devices. The usage reporting app is a premium application, but again, it also aggregates data across several devices. So that is one benefit that it has. So one last thing, if we look at print, so far we've really covered local accounts on the device, walk-up activity, controlling walk-up activity. By default, I do not like to limit print activity to the device when I'm setting up local accounts. Now, this is definitely something that we support and you can enable, but it also can prevent some authorized users from being able to print to the device. So if you do limit print activity to the device, you want to make sure that you have your authentication set up properly, that your security is configured, and that your users have a way to print to the device somehow. So under security, if you look at miscellaneous, we have a print permission checkbox. If you check that, we will evaluate each print job against the job user that is sending the job to the device. And if that user is not set up as an authorized user on the device, they will not be allowed to print. And their print permission will be associated based on the group that they're printing from. So if they don't have print turned on under feature access, then they won't be able to print to the device and the job will be flushed. Again, normally what I do is set up walk-up activity accounts and then I track print activity, but I don't prevent. But if you want to prevent, you certainly can. And if that's what you want to enable, you can configure that right here. So these options for local accounts are the basic setup for a Lexmark. Any Lexmark device introduced to the market as of 2016 and above are going to have a similar setup. As far as security goes, it's going to be very capable in terms of granularity of security levels. So 2016, that's kind of the magic year that will support this type of setup. Earlier devices will support these, but it's a different setup. So the look and feel of the experience of the web page will be different. Finally, if we look at Active Directory authentication, that's definitely something that we support and you can set up right here on the device. That would not be a local account, so that would be a little different. And then finally, for the most features, you can use cloud authentication, which would tie the device to cloud print management with Lexmark. So if you have cloud print enabled to the device, which means you can print to the cloud, authenticate to the cloud, and pull your jobs down from the cloud, then that is what the Lexmark would have. And then that's going to give you a login as well from the operator panel, and would also provide you bill back controls, etc.